In the 13th century, a civilization appeared from the empty grasslands of Mongolia, and within decades, they conquered more land than the Romans had in centuries. They moved faster than any army in history. They communicated across continents before modern technology even existed. And when cities saw the Mongol banners on the horizon, many surrendered before the battle even began. This was not just an empire. It was a moving machine. This is the story of how a starving child from the Mongolian steppe built the largest land empire in human history. Before he became Genghis Khan, he was just a boy, a starving child named Temujin, born into a world that punished weakness. He had nothing, no protection, no certainty, only the harsh silence of the steppe. His father was poisoned, and everything he knew collapsed overnight. His tribe didn't just fall apart, it turned on itself. Even survival had a price. Trust disappeared faster than food. But in that brutality, something was being forged. A survivor who would one day change the world. He was not born into power. He had to carve it from blood and betrayal. He survived capture, slavery, betrayal from those closest to him. And when he escaped, he didn't return as a victim. He returned with control. He began uniting scattered tribes, not through trust, but through discipline, loyalty, and absolute dominance. Those who followed him became an army unlike anything the steppe had ever seen. Fast, silent, and unstoppable. And one by one, rival tribes disappeared. Some joined him. Others never had the chance. Because leadership under Genghis Khan was not inherited. It was enforced by outcome. And from that unity, an empire was born that would reshape history through fear and order. The Mongols were not slowed by cities, because they barely lived in them. Their civilization didn't stay in one place. It moved with the wind across the steppe. Homes, families, warriors, livestock, entire worlds traveled together. While kingdoms built walls of stone, the Mongols built a civilization that could never be pinned down. Every Mongol child learned to ride horses almost before they could walk. A horse wasn't just transportation. It was survival, warfare, freedom. By adulthood, Mongol riders could fire arrows with deadly accuracy while galloping at full speed. A single warrior carried multiple horses, allowing Mongol armies to travel impossible distances without slowing down. They crossed deserts, mountains, and frozen plains faster than any army on Earth. While European armies crawled through mud and heavy armor, Mongols moved like lightning across open land. They could appear without warning, strike with terrifying speed, then vanish back into the horizon. And before their enemies even understood what happened, the Mongols were already gone. Long before modern psychological warfare, the Mongols had already mastered it. They understood a terrifying truth. People surrender long before the battle even begins. The Mongols made sure every survivor carried the same message. Resist and your city disappears. But surrender immediately and you might survive. Fear became their fastest weapon. Entire kingdoms collapsed before the Mongols even arrived. Stories spread from caravan to caravan, from tavern to tavern. Travelers whispered about cities erased in a single night. They said the Mongols rode without rest, that they could cross impossible distances faster than any army on Earth, that they appeared from nowhere, like ghosts emerging from the horizon, and that no wall could stop them. Panic spread across continents faster than the Mongol horses themselves. Some cities abandoned their homes before the first Mongol scout even appeared. Others surrendered the moment Mongol banners touched the horizon. Kings, generals, and entire civilizations began fighting fear instead of fighting the Mongols. Because the greatest weapon of the Mongol Empire was never the sword. It was terror. The Mongols didn't just conquer land, they conquered the human mind. The Mongols didn't conquer half the world with strength alone. They conquered it because they could move information faster than anyone else alive. In an age without radios, telephones, or satellites, messages crossed continents with terrifying speed. Genghis Khan created a relay network called the Yam, a chain of stations built across the empire with fresh horses waiting day and night. With this system, information traveled faster than most armies could march. The empire stayed connected because the Mongols understood something centuries ahead of their time. An empire does not survive on conquest alone. It survives on communication. And in many ways, the Mongols built the medieval world's first high-speed information network. First, northern China began to fall. Fortified cities that had stood for centuries suddenly faced an enemy unlike anything they had ever seen. Then, Persia collapsed, one of the richest civilizations on Earth, swallowed by invasion, fire, and fear. The Mongol Empire expanded faster than any empire before it, not slowly over centuries, but violently within a single lifetime. At its peak, the empire stretched from Korea to Eastern Europe. An empire so vast, entire worlds existed inside its borders. And for the first time in history, much of the known world feared the same empire. Then, in 1227, Genghis Khan died. Not in glory, not on a battlefield, but at the edge of an empire he built with his own hands. The man who reshaped continents was gone. But his death was nothing like his life. It was hidden, quiet, almost erased. To this day, nobody knows exactly where the greatest conqueror in history was buried. Mongols were masters of speed, fear, communication, and adaptation. They turned an entire civilization into a moving war machine. And for a brief moment in history, the thunder of Mongol horses shook the entire world.